You're going to give it to me. I'm going to take it in the van, put it all in the van like I said before, make sure everything's good, make sure you're not suspended or revoked. Again, I can see whether you failed to pay child support and stuff like that. So I know who I'm talking to, what I'm dealing with. The cops are going to be there most of the time. They have guns. They won't let me have a gun. At least not on the job. Put all that stuff in the computer. I have to write it, and just please be patient. Normally it takes me about a half an hour if there's no violations. If there's a lot of violations, it could take longer. But I have to write the whole VIN number, which is 18, on the truck and the trailer. I have to put down your client ID number, your birth date, all of that stuff. I have to run things. And unfortunately, I work for the state, so you know how fast their computers are. If I had a good computer, I could probably cut my time down by 10 to 15 minutes per inspection. The computers are kind of slow. I'll put all that stuff in there. I'll check all that stuff out, check your log, check to see whether you need a logbook or not. Come firing out of the van. I'm going to go ahead and inspect the truck. I'm going to walk around the top side. I'm going to check the tires, lights. When I get to the back, I'll do left turn, right turn, 4 ways. And then I have to step on a brake. I got your wheels chalked. Go ahead and release your parking brake. He's going to release his parking brake. I'm going to say, go ahead and turn on all your marker lights. He's going to turn on all his marker lights. I'm going to say, was everything okay on the preacher? And you're going to say yes. I'm going to start at the front tire. I'll get to the other side for you guys on the other side. It's the same thing on both sides of the vehicle. Take a look at the tire tread depth. On the drive, or on the steer axle, anything less than 4/30 seconds is an out of service. Okay? And 2 adjacent tread grooves. It's going to be an out of service. I'm going to look at the tire. I'm going to make sure it doesn't have any bumps, bruises on the sidewall. Take a look at the rims and make sure it's not cracked, bent, broken. I'm going to take a look at the lug nuts. On these, I try to spin the washers because this could be tight and the washers could be loose. Try to spin those. Take a look at the hub. Make sure there's oil in the hub. Make sure it's not bent, broken. I come back. I take a look at the DOT number. Make sure it matches that MCS 150. If your company name is, I don't know, Adam Arbach Construction, it needs to say that whole thing on here. It can't say AAC. It has to match whatever's on the MCS 150. You can put a DBA in your MCS 150 as AAC, and that will be acceptable. I take a look at the DOT number, make sure it matches up, make sure everything's good, make sure you're not suspended, revoked, make sure that it's not a registrant only. If it's a registrant only, that means that you rent these things, and you can't use them in commerce. Okay? Most of you guys aren't registrant only. All you have to do is look at it. Or will look at it. Not a problem. Take a look back, check the fuel tank straps. If you got a fuel tank that's not secured and the straps are loose from its attaching points, it's an out of service. The fuel tank is leaking, dripping onto the roadway. If it's seeping, not a problem. If it's dripping onto the roadway, it's out of service. If any of the fuel lines are leaking, dripping onto the roadway, including the heater system or anything you're running off the fuel tank, it's out of service. Normally you got a box on the back of this. I'll check the U-bolts underneath that hold the box to the frame. All of those must be tight. I'll come to the back. I'll kick tires, make sure that it's air tires. Tires. I will kick them with a hammer, and I can tell right away whether it's low or not. Most of the tires today are 105, 110, or 120. Anything that's less than half the pressure on the sidewall is an out of service. So if you have a tire that says 120 on the sidewall as maximum pressure, anything less than 60, you're going to be out of service and you're going to be sitting there. Same thing goes for car tires, truck tires, trailer tires. If you have a smaller vehicle and it says 80 PSI, I put a guy out today that had 80 PSI. He had 20. It was on a dual set. He's out of service. It's considered a flat tire as far as the regulations go. If you overload your vehicles, I know you guys don't do that, but take a look between the tires. If the duals come in contact with each other, that's an out of service. Because it's going to create excess heat in here and blow your tires out. I'm going to take a look at the spring pack from up here, take a look at stuff. Mud flaps. New York State only, okay? Again, great old New York State. Connecticut, you have a mud flap? Yes. That's it. New York State, not good enough. Okay? What we do in New York State is we go from the center of the axle, the rearmost axle, we draw a line on the ground. We go wherever this is hanging down, or where it used to be hanging down. Okay? We draw another line on the ground. We measure from here to there. It's 30 inches. We divide by 3. This mud flap, at all times, going down the road at 75 miles an hour, can't be any higher than 10 inches off the ground. That is New York State. Are you going to see it? We might write a mud flap or stuff on dump trucks and stuff like that. It is a violation. If they fly a little bit, yeah, we actually have to see them fly. The mud flap, the regulations state that it must be rigid enough to stay in the position. So if they fly quite a bit, again, same thing with the main. Nobody's going to pull you over for that.
Is that for any vehicle that requires a rubber mud flap?
No, that's for any vehicle that requires a New York State plate. Okay? I mean, as far as the dueling on a pickup truck, I mean, pickup truck's not
all box, with some tractor trailer.
Yeah, if it's got, really, if it's got these type, if it's like flat back here, it needs mud flaps. And again, if it doesn't have, I mean, that's one problem, though, it's wherever you put them. Because if you put them back here, now it's 60 inches, so it's even less. Go to the back, left turn, right turn, 4 ways, step on the brake. This one is illegal because it doesn't have the, yeah, it probably is, because it doesn't have the ID lights. It has that 3 ID lights in the back, just like the front on the cab. You'll see them on every single truck. It's an ID light. It identifies the vehicle as being over 8 inches wide. 3 ID lights, if not violation. One of the turn signals, left or right, doesn't work. So that means that you have no rear turn signals. That's an out of service. Or if both brake lights don't work, that's an out of service. If you have a dump truck or something like that, it's got a brake light up here, it's required to have these down here. I'm not going to put you out of service, but I got to write you a violation. You still have a brake light up here. Same thing down the other side, mud flaps. Again, I'm going to take a look at the back. Lately, we have been going inside them a lot. I'm sure you heard on the news with the refrigeration units, everybody's shutting them off. It's not good for me. I'm not even Chinese. Yeah, they're starting to run with the refrigeration units off as per the news to save gas. So when we get a refrigerated vehicle in, we definitely go the extra mile. We have to keep them. We check some stuff. Okay. If you have a load securement, if you have a flatbed, if you have load on, I'm going to check the load at that time also when I'm doing the walk around. Come to the back, do the same thing here, check the lug nuts, check the rim, check the tires. On the back tires, it has to be less than 1/32, which is less than 1/32. It's very small on both sets, on both tires, before I can put you out of service. Okay? Or if the cords are hanging out, I can put you out of service for that. Okay? And when we put you out of service, you can't switch stuff around. So say if these 2 tires are brand new and these 2 tires are bald, you can't take this tire off, put it over there to fix the out of service. The out of service was that they were bald. So you have to fix the out of service before you can drive down the road.
How about nicks in the sidewall? What's out of service? Anything? Nicks in the sidewalk?
When it's exposing the cords. When it's exposing the cords or if it has a lump of a bump, it's going to be an out of service.
You could have a slit then?
If you've got a slit, I take my screwdriver and sort of peek in a little bit. Again, you can write it up on the driver vehicle inspection report and let the mechanic take care of that. If it doesn't look like it's going to blow out, I'm not going to go there. You know, you guys, tires, I don't know if it's going to blow out. It's got a cut in it. If it's into the cords, then we have a problem. Or if it's through the cords.
What about the treads? They catch something, they're spinning, they take a chunk of that out.
As long as not for as far as the violation goes, it has to be in 3 separate spots, less than 1/32. It's out of service. charged to the out of service. If it's less than 230 seconds, it's a violation. So if you got a flat spot here, and it's not showing towards in one spot, it's not gonna be a violation, because I can't get it in 3 spots. Only on the drives. On the front, it's anywhere. Okay? Take a look at that stuff. What I can see from just standing up here, again, this is basically a level 2. I already did my driver only. Now I'm gonna do a level 2. And then later I'll do a level 1. Come down this side, make sure this stuff's not leaking, make sure the cap is on there, make sure everything's good. I had a big, long discussion over days about this thing, and I don't like it, and I still don't like it. Okay? It is the exhaust, and it is getting right onto the fuel tank. If you drive this thing down the road and you stop and that thing lights up and goes into afterburn or reburn, you're probably not going to be able to touch that fuel tank. I don't like it. I put in a complaint about it, and the vets come back and said, you're wrong. I said, okay. That's all I can do. But when these things, it's really close. It's really close.
Well, especially when you start putting your accidents in for the winter time, that's when the stuff gets.
And that's what I mean. It's just, the first time I seen one, I called the big boss in the main office. I said, whoa, these guys are making the trucks wrong. And I guess I wasn't the only one that complained, because after about 6 months, they came out with a ruling stating, I don't know how to make the trucks, and they no one's more money than I do, so let it go. But I don't like it, okay? I will tell you one thing about this stuff here,